And what was kind of cool is, as you guys know, I had locks up until almost 6 years ago, and when I cut them, you know, and I had to do this new photo shoot and put the photos out. And someone's like, "Oh, you just put all those old photos on? I saw those old photos," because she didn't realize I had cut my hair. And I'm like, "Thanks for thinking I still look that young." I'll take it. I'll take it.
Isn't that actually, is this the original cover?
Yeah, that's the vinyl cover. So the vinyl album came out in 2014 on Surgent Records, and we used the photo from like when I was a teenager, and then obviously decided that since we were going to tribute it in this version to...
It matches it with the...
graffiti, blue jacket, you know, kind of,
Scowl.
The scowl.
like your kid.
There you go.
he just had, sorry, he just
the
picture he posted is...
He sent us a photo and the kid's just like...
It's a wicked,
he's
wicked face.
Yeah. He's already hardcore with it.
Yeah.
He's already grilling.
I said, give birth to 50 Cent.
Now, we got to start the show the way we always start.
absolutely.
Okay.
Sorry, our apologies for coming in late there. But
Nah, bro.
Not to,
You got it down too now.
It's been a chaotic. Shout out to
Good.
David Solomon, wasn't able to make it today. He had an emergency come up, so.
shout out to David Solomon for coming through last night, though. We had our grand opening at the tattoo shop.
Okay.
And David came through and gave us a hand. Held it down, had to throw some people out into the street.
One of those.
David.
He was the bouncer.
Give me a bit. Nothing crazy, but
I got you.
some type of party with y'all.
Did you choose Stoli? Or what made
Nah, I don't.
I just grabbed it.
Yeah, because
Let me see it.
we always discuss what we're going to
Right.
drink.
Yeah.
And just this week, all of a sudden, we got a message, bottle secured. We're all like,
Yeah.
did
On
we
the
have that
ball.
conversation?
Well, so this is new to me. This will be my first.
It's good. I like it. I don't know if you like vodka, but for vodkas, like price point wise, this is like the best bang for your buck.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Yeah, that being
So,
said,
Thanks for having me on the Shot Club, fellas.
Definitely. Long
All
time
right.
coming.
Respect.
Got a double tap at the end.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah. There you go.
has been a while since we had vodka, I guess. So. Where's your mic? Is that all right? Okay.
Did you clip it to your skin?
He did.
Wow.
I stuck it. It's not a clip.
Well, my man's got enough tattoos to be able to deal with it, you know?
I know.
He can deal with it, yo.
If you want to.
Put it, pierce right in the nipple. Put it right. Yeah. Oh, shit.
It's cold.
All show. Morgan is always like, what's going on over there? Just don't worry. The clip.
So we also go live on another site called Pocket Live. So I'm just
Yeah,
gonna set
yeah.
that
Take
up
care of
here.
that.
Keep it interactive. So they have messages coming in.
Okay.
You know.
So what was the official release date for the album?
October 6th.
Okay.
So it just dropped. I'm kind of weird with numbers. Like I'm born 6'10", so I wanted to drop it 10'6".
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
There's no real.
no, but
You
I
know.
mean, it's like.
It is just one of those things.
Mm.
But yeah, I'll be honest with you, it's crazy because, you know, this album has been in the works, I mean, literally for 20 plus years, but even when I kind of decided, I was sort of encouraged to do an anniversary album.
Okay.
You know, it was going to be like, it's a deluxe edition of the Dear Hip Hop album that, as we talked about, was released on vinyl. But it was released just kind of prior to its having been out 20 years. But then when I decided to do the deluxe version and create new records to put on the album and commemorate it, turns out it's actually been 21 years.
Oh, really?
So yeah, so technically I'm a little off on the math, but regardless,
Feel no way. You
that's,
gotta remember.
that's the project. So
Well, did you, like, it wasn't you that thought up the idea of doing somebody else, like.
I kind of, well, the funny thing is, man, you know, this project has had such an interesting journey, man, because when Dear Hip Hop came out, it wasn't even a single, it was on the Rap Essentials Volume
Yeah,
1
yeah.
compilation. And obviously I'm proud and humbled that it got so much love. I had a video in rotation. I toured the nation with Shot Claire in promotion of the album. And Dear Hip Hop just got so much love that it kind of effectively took on this life of its own as this single that represented my first recording, my first foray into the game, really, that people would recognize as my first record. But it never actually got an official release. I had put out like mixtapes and just like burn them to a CD, you know, ghetto ass, here's a CD.
Yeah.
But it never really had an actual legitimate release until it was pressed to vinyl. So I had it in mind to want to give it a real release.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Especially in the past 2 decades, the way that people consume music has changed so much that now I have all this music out, but where people get music, Spotify, Tidal, iTunes, wherever,
Absolutely.
Dear Hip Hop's not on it.
Okay.
So it's just kind of weird to have all this
Yeah.
material and this is not available. So that kind of inspired me to want to say, okay, let me do a re-release. And then again, I was encouraged by a former manager who even started a crowdfunding campaign and said, let's
dope,
actually
okay.
do this, new joints, to sort of give it a whole new life and commemorate it at the time that it turned 20. Like I said, it took long enough that it's actually 21, but I just thought it was fair to everybody who supported my career to be able to get the music in ways that it was never available before. And now, of course, it's available on all music platforms.
That's
So
great.
to all the new school cats who Spotify, whatever, however you get your music, you can get it now.
Okay.
It took that long for Dear Hip Hop to actually be available in
We
that
do
way.
a lot of this here. So you just talked about Choclair.
Yeah.
And about how you see where I'm going
Ah,
with this. How it wasn't 20 years, it was 21 years.
21 years, yeah.
Of your life.
That's right. And that joint was on that exact album.
Exactly, yeah.
Wow, crazy.
Now, feeding off of that,
Yeah.
I'll take that alley-oop.
It was on the album.
Sauce Now, we did have Choclair, and we
Yeah.
spoke about how 21 Years of My Lifetime came out in 96, 97.
Right.
You had Socrates come out with Hate Runs Deep. He just did a
Yeah.
2017 version. Now you got your anniversary joint coming with bonus joints. When that was coming out, when Dear Hip Hop was running and Choclair was doing his thing,
Yeah.
and you had Cardi, did you like have a moment to look around and say, man, these guys might be here for the next 15, 20 years? Or was it just everything's
Yeah.
happening so fast?
The moment.
I don't know that I thought like that at the time because I was just blown away that I was doing it at all. You know what I'm saying? I've been a music fan my whole life. I knew I was going to do music when I was 5 years old, and Thriller came out. So I already had it in my mind, like this is what I'm doing for sure.
Yeah.
It just so happened that hip hop took over when I was 10 years old, but I already knew this was for me. So a fan first, obviously, and you know when I had the opportunity when Rap Essentials was licensing records, and they licensed Dear Hip Hop.
Okay.
It's just dream come true shit for me. It's like I was still kind of in a daze,
Yeah.
amazed at the fact that I was on tour. I had known of Choclair and Cardi and Sox because they already had some records out. So yeah, I don't even know if I already knew I'd always be doing this,
Yeah.
but I definitely didn't have it in my mind that, you know, eventually that there'd be an anniversary album and, you know, the career would last this long. It was just in my head from when I was a kid that this is what I was going to do. So
Yeah, I don't
to
think-
me, it was just,
Yeah, I don't think you ever
you know.
think that when you're creating something that you're like, oh, this joint is gonna, you know, be something in 20 years, or you know, what I mean, anybody who created a classic, I don't think.
Well,
I mean, you might be like, this
Yeah.
is that shit, but I mean,
it's
you're
in
not
your
gonna.
mind that
yeah.
you want to make something
Yeah.
that's lasting.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I
when
think-
you
yeah.
when you hear
Actually, I
these,
think that depends on what age you are.
Yeah.
Because when you're 18, 19, 20, 21, you're not thinking, oh, I'm be doing this for 20 years.
Yeah,
You're just, you're in your zone right
Yeah.
now.
I think though
You're
too, it
in
also
the-
depends on what era you come from, because one of the reasons that this album and the other anniversary projects that you mentioned, I think even exist, is because to celebrate an anniversary means that there's something special attached to this thing. It's worth celebrating. Tons of shit happened 20 years ago, but we're not commemorating all of it.
Right.
There's specific things that we look at that are important. And you know, to make tracks like this, again, even at the time, I didn't think it was going to be the so-called classic and all of this stuff that it has become worldwide, and I'm very proud of it. But what I did do is put my heart into my music.
Yes.
And I literally wrote a love letter to hip hop, and the rest of the songs on there, in its own way, are all about my devotion and how hungry I was as an MC and how, you know, dedicated I am to the craft. So I think when you put your heart into your music, you guys are all artists too and know what I'm talking about. That's the type of shit that lasts, because I think that's the type of shit that people attach themselves to.
Yeah.
I can't speak for everybody else, but I would think that certain people making music, especially today, come into it with a different mindset.
Yeah.
I think the mindset is sometimes more leaning towards, I can make money, I can be popular, I can be cool, I can be the shit,
Yeah.
whatever is the status thing versus creating art that's gonna last
Yeah.
20, 30, the life, you know what I'm saying? I listen to music that's 40 years old. And, you know, like Jackson 5 and all these, you know, Bob Marley's music, all my favorite shit was made before I was born.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So to me, to make timeless music is simply to say I'm creating with my heart, and what happens is gonna happen. You know, I don't think anybody writes a record. I certainly haven't going. Can't wait for 20 years from now. This is gonna be, you know.
Well, and you can't. I mean, you just can't predict anything
I know,
like that,
totally not.
and styles and everything changes so much that. But like you said, putting effort and heart into it, and just to ensure it's not just like disposable. Like a lot of music that's made today is literally for
disposable,
right
that's
now,
quick.
and that's
But
Absolutely.
their whole point isn't even to last.
Yeah.
They just want to make that quick buck and get out.
yeah.
Yeah, well, it's a cool thing,
Yeah.
you know. Like, listen, when I got into the game, and this is the thing, like people who really followed my career know that 5 years before Dear Hip Hop released, I was on Electric Circus as a 13-year-old, and I won a contest. It was all about battling to me. So being the best MC was the reason I rapped, and I think being the best MC isn't the reason a lot of younger kids rap
They
today.
rap now.
Being the best isn't necessarily what drives them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think just your attitude towards your craft, the heart that you put into it, or a different mindset. You know, I think, you know, maybe there's people who can come in and out of this game. There's been plenty in the past 20 years of come in and out of this game.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to speak for them, but I can't believe that they love the shit as much as I do.
Yeah.
Because I can't. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no end.
It's that time again.
Okay.
So,
know what I'm
did you guys
talking
even
about.
explain Darkwing? Did you?
Not
No,
even. I
okay.
just figured that was.
So,
You know.
Dark Rain Cluck is the
Nice.
official 5th member of the crew.
All right.
And he lets us know when we got to drink.
Respect.
You're probably the first person that's actually dapped.
You said he's in the crew.
That's true.
Come on, that's disrespect.
Definitely Cluck.
So, yeah, he lets us know.
Careful, Ma.
All right.
It's time to take shots.
So,
All right.
Why is Chez's thing so small? What's that all about?
Don't talk about that.
That's fun.
good one.
Nah, I'm calling niggas out. It's the shot club, right?
It's because I can't stay too long.
All right.
So,
We call them Cheza shots.
Yeah.
Chez's shot.
He's our
I
moderator.
might need to take
He
some
keeps
later.
us in line. Tries.
Fair enough.
Look at how dedicated this is.
Where's my beer? Where's Ma, man?
It's on the
Ma,
way.
Ma said that I was gonna get beer.
Mom's coming through. If anything, if Mom says she's gonna do something, she's gonna do it.
All right. Good.
That's what's coming
But
through.
look at how
Yeah.
dedicated our moderator is, though.
Yeah.
Baby comes home today. He's in the shot club.
Yeah.
That's amazing, dude. Honestly,
Yeah.
though, I gotta tell you, dude, as a father, it's an interesting time for me, man, because I've been working on my new album, and it's all about being a father. You know, I got a 3-year-old girl, and anybody who knows me knows she's changed my life, and as a father, you can imagine. So, like I said, even this whole project has been. It's just a whole other thing for me, you know what I'm saying? Because like a lot of these raps were written as a teenager, but man, being a father, bro, like I can't even tell you what this next record's gonna sound like. I'm still excited to hear what it's gonna sound like because I've never been more inspired to write than now, and I'm sure I feel that sense of joy for you because you know,
thank you.
dude, you know, having a baby, that's
It's crazy.
nothing
It's
nothing
dope.
beats it. Nothing beats
I
it.
recently got a puppy.
Okay,
Similar.
fair enough. What's your puppy's name?
Harley.
All right, for Harley. He's Harley's now. I give that to everybody. Everyone gets love from me. Chicken, the dog, it's all right. But definitely
Darkwing.
the baby.
What came first?
Oh
chicken
man,
or the-
the chicken or the dog? Shit,
I'd say the chicken. But
2 shots.
that's already drunk.
that's
Before we go any further,
Yeah, yeah.
because we kind of started things off on a different note.
Yeah.
Oh,
Pocket
yeah, what up, Pocket
Live.
Live?
How you guys doing? What are you guys drinking?
Yo, Clarissa says, "Hey guys, I made it. I can't even speak English already." Yo. Yes, Clarissa.
Hey,
We have-
Clarissa.
Clarissa's a regular.
Who's with us?
We have people all over. A lot of people in Canada,
William.
the U.S., a lot in the Philippines.
Cool.
So all over the world,
We
people
have
tune in here.
King Jock, Robert, William, Lisa, Patricia.
Jordell.
Jordell's in here. What up?
Jordell, what's up?
Jennifer, Susan, Michael, West, John, Donna. Jeez, let me just keep going.
What up to all of you?
Margaret.
Thanks for
All of
joining
y'all
us.
tell other
Oh,
people
yeah.
to tune in.
Thank you for tuning
Oh,
in.
Dustin. Dustin just
grow.
tuned in.
Dustin,
What up?
what's
What
happening?
up, Wareham?
Oh, what's good? That's my dude.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so, I'm sorry, were you gonna ask him?
Dustin, I say you should be watching on MaxNow TV.
Dustin.
You hear that? Ma
Chris
said-
says you should be watching on MaxNow.tv.
What website was
MXM1, MaxNow.tv,
Okay.
MXM1.
So my question was,
Yeah.
how did you structure this in a way? I mean, it's got some new joints on it. So how did you structure it compared to the original?
Yeah, you know, I was actually mentioning that earlier. It's kind of weird so I don't know how I even cut myself off. Maybe it was Darkwing. But like okay, so my first album came out in 2000, The Book of Daniel, but this is 4 years after Rap Essentials came out. So I had kind of not given up, but left my 90s recorded material, or I should say mid 90s, because Book of Daniel's late 90s material, and just moved on.
Okay.
Because it never got released the way I was hoping it would have gotten released. And by the time it was, you know, I was doing another album, the project sort of just got left on DAT tapes. Okay, just to show you how old school it is. So when I burnt them to CD, it was just to give away for free.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say if you can, because
Explain DAT tapes?
not everybody knows
Yeah,
what a DAT
yeah,
tape
that's
is.
true. So so welcome to the old school edition of so DAT tapes are literally like, they're about this small. They look like little VHS cassettes, and they're called digital audio tapes. So right before everything was going digital, I don't even know how they digitally placed music on tape, but that's what a DAT tape was. And it was the highest quality. When you mastered, you put it on a DAT. So that's where this album sat for like almost a couple of decades. And
That's amazing that you were able to keep your hands on it or get your hands
well,
back on
I'm
it.
meticulous though.
Yeah.
Like I'm the kind of cat who like all my TV appearances and stuff are somewhere on VHS tapes logged in like this box.
Yeah.
You know, so I keep all that shit, and like all the projects I've been on, like I have CDs, some of them are unwrapped, all like stacked, like my own personal collection, because you know, again, just like what the song says, I have such a devotion to what I do that I actually care about its end product, and I put so much into the end product that I want to like, you know, sort of cherish it. It's like I made it. So after all these years, to answer your question, how I formulated it, you know, I put out the CD, like there was a burnt version, and then when my second album came out, I did another version because the first CD was literally burnt CDs, like ghetto ass. Look at the CD I burnt
The marker
from
on it.
home. I put stickers on it. It was real lame, you know.
The sticker idea sounds like a good idea.
At the
And
time,
at the time,
you think it looks.
We've all done
at the
it.
time,
You think it's better
yeah.
than writing, but it just looks so
Yeah.
ghetto.
It
and it
serves
was like
its purpose at the
it was a photocopied cover.
Yeah.
You know. And then when you started manufacturing CDs, so the second one was manufactured, but I hadn't even mastered the shit. You know, like it wasn't like even real quality. So I put that out. I put a couple of Monolith joints on that, and for anyone who's followed me, they might have the Dear Hip Hop CD that has some of the Monolith joints. Because for anyone who knows, the Monolith EP actually came out on cassette. So it wasn't even available on CD. So after all these years, just taking the DAT tapes, fully mastering it the way it should have been, and then taking all the tracks that should have been on it to begin with, including Danish, which went on the long-awaited EP. That's a track with me and Nish Rocks from Monolith. And a remix I didn't know existed. I forgot that Corey D's had remixed Dear Hip Hop in like '97.
Okay.
And I didn't do anything with it. So when it was doing the vinyl album a few years ago, I took the DAT tapes into the studio and heard this song. I was like, what the hell is this? And I'm listening to a track I'd forgotten I'd done. So that's on there too. So, you know, it all came to be by just bringing the original DATs to the studio, you know, mastering everything the way it should have been, and just, you know, creating a project that sort of maybe should have happened 20 years ago, but didn't. So here it is. And I finally given it its just due. I tried a couple of times, didn't get it right. The vinyl was the way to do it.
Yeah.
That was deserving. And then, of course, this just brings it full circle.
Yeah, that's great.
With new joints, and to speak of the new joints, like I purposely wanted to create 90s type records. Obviously, we're in an era where hip hop's completely changed.
Yeah.
What we call hip hop is not what we grew up listening to. And so I just thought, look, that isn't me anyways. I'm going to clearly go right against the grain. And the records I'm going to create them as if it's still the 90s.
Yeah.
And so what I really wanted to do is commemorate the fact that, look, I'm definitely not the only MC who's been around 20 years from Toronto. So for me to celebrate this milestone, I had to have my favorites and some legends and people on the album. So I did a track called Rap Essentials with Mathematic and Deuce Deuce, who are also on the album.
Okay.
Of course, League of Legends, the first single with Maestro Fresh
Oh,
West,
man.
Big Kish, Eternia, Thrust, Mocha Only. Like, I'm fans of these people.
Yeah.
So to me, to do a posse cut even, I don't even know who's doing posse cuts. I'm like, I gotta do a posse cut. And I had to do it with Scam,
Those are the
who
funnest,
produced
though.
Dear Hip Hop. Oh, yeah.
Those are the
Yes,
funnest.
yes.
Like, there's nothing like that healthy competition of
You know, yeah.
everybody.
And again,
everybody
it's-
you
It brings the
respect.
best
Yeah.
out of everybody.
Yeah.
Like,
Totally,
it's
you got
it's
to,
like
man. And it's very 90s, you know, so there's that. So, like, to me, celebrating this milestone was, it's bigger than just my single. It's about Canadian hip-hop on a whole, but certainly here in Canada, this is just a representation of how long we've been doing it and doing it well.
Exactly.
Feel me? So I needed to celebrate with others who've been doing it longer than me, some of them, and have inspired me to keep going.
Yeah.
So that's where the new tracks came from, the inspiration
Yeah.
to do.
And
that.
so they worked in a way that you were able to fit them in and it would fit with the whole field.
Totally, yeah. The
Oh,
theme,
it's straight
it fits.
vibe, honestly.
Even though some songs were recorded 20 years apart,
Yeah.
I
It still
made
fits.
it fit. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm thankful that so far that's been the
dope, yeah.
feedback. It's all so this whole project feels deserving of like this presentation in this way.
When I listened to it, that was the first, like, when the first song just hit, I was like, holy shit, I'm back. Like, I'm
Yeah.
back.
Yeah,
I'm
it takes you back.
right
Yeah,
away.
respect, man.
It's a wicked
What
song.
up?
Yeah.
What up, Odd?
Now I got a question. We asked Chaclair a question about touring because we all like being
Okay.
on the road. Now he evaded the question.
Oh, you did.
He completely evaded the question.
Everybody we've asked this question, they have evaded this question.
But he did
Okay.
mention going on the road with Chaclair.
I did.
So do you
I have a
remember?
feeling I know it.
So maybe that's how we have to configure this now. Is we need to ask people what others,
Yes.
other people's road
True.
stories.
But here's
Okay.
here's the question. We always like to ask what city or what town was the most fun
Okay.
when you guys were touring.
Okay.
Do you remember what town or city just kind of like
Stands out.
He
stands
evaded
out?
this?
Yeah, it was totally political.
He must have been a few shots in.
Yeah.
to say the least.
No, I do remember actually. That was an unforgettable experience for me. I have a couple answers. One was North Bay, Ontario.
Okay.
North Bay, which obviously
Hey!
All right, shots
get
to
back into that.
shots to North Bay. Tell the story or let
Yeah,
you
go,
pour.
go,
it?
go.
sorry.
North Bay made me feel like Michael Jackson, bro.
Right?
North Bay. First of all, it was this venue that maybe was the only venue in town. I don't know. It was rammed to the,
Yep.
it was packed. And I remember when
All the way up.
we hit the stage. We didn't do a song yet. We were just walking to the noise in the building. Like I was kind of shook. Like I can't believe I'm hearing like this superstar like noise for this show.
And what year is this?
This is 96, because
96,
the
okay.
album came out in November of 96. The tour started, I think, in December of 96. We were touring off and on up until March of 97, and then spot dates. So if it wasn't 96, it was early 97. But I'm going to say 96, because I remember being on the first leg of the tour, Ontario, Thunder Bay, and Hamilton, cities like that, North Bay. And they just went off. And to me, it was like my first real feeling of superstardom, like the feeling of like, holy shit, these people are losing it. And it just, I had such a blast. But another thing I want to shout out is Victoria, BC, because Victoria, of course, we drove, across Canada. So I don't know how long it took for us to get out there, but it was one of the stops, the later stops. And what I remember about Victoria, BC, there's two things. I got on stage, and people were smoking. Everyone could smoke inside back then.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm asthmatic and deathly allergic to smoke of any kind. So I had no choice. I stopped. I did maybe a song. And like, y'all got to stop smoking. I can't do, straight. I can't do this show if y'all keep smoking. Honest to God. And I even felt kind of bad. Like, oh shit, are they gonna get cheesed? They stopped smoking. I continued the show, and I remember the end of the show, which of course ended with Dear Hip Hop. My set still ended with Dear Hip Hop. Everybody knew the lyrics. So maybe they just had enough time to get, like, dude, I almost couldn't, I remember almost not being able to perform because I was so, like, overwhelmed and taken aback. Like, everyone's lips, dude. Every verse, every chorus. And I thought, this is what I do to my favorites. I go to concerts and I know all the songs.
Exactly.
And they're doing this for me. So that's those are my answers. North Bay and Victoria, shout out.
To the fans. To the
Yeah,
fans that
to
make
the
it
fans
worthwhile.
For sure.
What up, everybody?
Is
Pocket
Chester
Labs,
not even
Max.
taking one?
Yeah, yeah,
Actually,
yeah.
no.
Yeah, man.
I'll drop a lick.
Come
in there.
on, guy. For Quentin, bro. That's it. There you go.
I just realized your son's name is Quentin Miller.
I know. I told him you gotta stay away from Drake.
He's going to be a writer.
I'm missing something. I don't know.
Drake's ghostwriter.
Oh, sorry. It's Quentin
So
Miller?
didn't Big Daddy
Quentin
Kane
Miller.
give you the mic at a concert or something?
Yes, he did. It's funny, you know, all these years of doing what I'm doing,
Taking my
and I'm
question.
still such a huge Oh, you're going to ask that one?
I do
I'm
hear
still such-
the
yeah.
Kane influence
Oh,
on the
dude,
album.
yeah.
I wouldn't deny that for a second. He's talking about Amnesia at a Cool House, rest in peace, Cool House,
Yeah.
a few years back. And Kane, I think he ended his show at Raw. And he came off stage and walking. That's one of those artists, like, Kane was my main dude. Lip sync every song, easy. And he came off stage. This is on YouTube somewhere. If you can find it, you'll have to, Amnesia, Big Daddy Kane, Toronto, I think you'll be able to use. And he comes off stage and he ends up walking by me. I'm rapping the whole song. I know. Gave me the mic for 2 bars. Now here I am, you know, all these albums and mixtapes and videos and everything. And that to me is like a top moment. That's why I know he mentioned it, because I'm like, yo, Big Daddy Kane, you know. So yeah. And that's the point, man, is like, I'm still such a fan.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like, I still love it the same way. I still am a fan the same way. I'm still, you know, it's a big deal to me to even do the records I did with the artists on the album. Like, I'm a fan.
Yeah.
You feel me? So, to me, this is why I'll be here 20 years from now, God willing, because I can't stop loving what I do, as opposed to, man, this is how I'm gonna like pay these bills, like, or I'm gonna get on, or whatever. You know. Yeah. So.
I think we all go through those moments where, like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Oh, for
But
sure.
while you're doing that, you're still kind of writing something.
Yeah.
You're still.
I had that.
Like,
And then you're writing a song about how you don't want to do this.
Yeah.
no more.
or
We've all-
it
yeah.
can be completely detached. I know there's times where I just like, I don't want to do this anymore. And,
No,
and
I
I'm
know.
still like sequencing a song. I'm
Yeah.
still.
Because that's a difference between cats who like do it as like this I don't even know what to call it, like this attempt. It's like working a job. Like, we've all worked jobs we don't like, and if you treat it as such, you're gonna feel that way.
Yeah.
I went through my own hiatus, man. After my second album came out in 2004, I dropped See No Evil, Hear No Evil, and then I followed up with a mixtape called Speak No Evil, which is kind of like remixes and unreleased joints. And I subtitled the project, The Last of Danny O, because in my head I was like, I'm tired of this, I'm done. It was like, to me, 2004, that era was sort of where hip hop was starting to become this thing that I was like not down with as
You
much
can see the
anymore.
change.
Yeah, but you know, and so like I said, I started a bunch of other things in the world of entertainment. Took my acting, I started kind of getting into the acting thing. Started my own podcast. Started teaching hip hop songwriting workshops, which I still do. Like, all these other things
Right.
that were still under the umbrella of arts and entertainment, but not rhyming. And of course, you know, you can't not, like the realest dudes, like just real talk, you can't escape it if you try.
Yeah.
And that's what it was for me. So, for a little bit of trivia, what really got me back was Jay Dilla, rest in peace. Like, my Dilla Pickles mixtape, which is a free download on danio.com.
Which website was that? Sorry.
danio.com.
Okay.
DAN-E-O.com. It wasn't even meant to be a mixtape, bro. I was just listening to Dilla instrumentals, Dilla joints. I got inspired to write, wrote some verses, turned into some songs. Next thing you know, I'm like, let me just do a project. Because I just enjoyed writing rhymes again. Because what happened, man, is I changed from going, you know, this game, the business, the industry is turning me off. I'm vexed at what people even like, who's successful, who's not, what's on the radio, what's not, how I'm going, how I'm not. And it just, instead of being angry about all that stuff, I just started remembering why the hell I did it to begin with.
Yeah.
I just fell in love with music. I love hip hop. So I just wrote rhymes for the sake of, that's what I love doing.
Those are the
And
best.
then put it out, and it was like, that was my resurgence. So after his passing, Dilla re-inspired my career.
Those are the
Legit.
best projects, though, the ones that just come together.
It was a
Just
total
flow.
accident.
Yeah.
Like,
True. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's a few things off here. Clarissa was like, I like to set up and I miss watching. This time I set up a damn reminder so I wouldn't miss out.
Thank you, Clarissa.
Nice.
Dustin says, Dan, as a fellow Scarbarian, do you have a special place in your heart for Scarborough? And why do so many dope MCs come from the borough? And Matt, love to you and Mono for really blowing the borough up in the late 90s.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, Dustin.
Yeah, big shout out, man. 80s favorite babies, man. For sure, my heart is, I'm Scarborough all day, every day. And yeah, I have a special place in my heart for it, obviously, because I grew up there, still live there. The whole crew, Monolith, is from there. And yeah, like, it does me great pride to be able to shout people like Maestro Fresh West and Mathematic and Citizen Kane and Shaw Claire and this Brass Monk and this long list of Scarborough MCs that, for me, you know, I have no issues traveling the world going, Scarborough is the mecca of Canadian hip hop. That's how I, you know what I'm saying? And so, you know, I'm very proud of that. Right on down to what I wear, like my, you know, shouts to my homie Colin Out, who he and his brother Kendrick started the Borrow Brand label. I was wearing a Borrow Brand t-shirt on my Book of Daniel album cover. They started the Hip Hop Playboy. I'm wearing a Hip Hop Playboy on my current album cover. It's all Scarborough, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, hip hop has always been, as far as I'm concerned, very much about representing, being you, represent where you're from, who you are, who you run with, because, you know, hip hop is worldwide, so we all have something different to bring to it. So I'm proud to be from Scarborough because I sincerely believe that what we bring to it is unique and different than where everywhere else, not just in Canada, but in the world, brings to this art, this culture we call hip hop. And in my opinion, Scarborough, I believe, deserves respect as being a haven for lyricism, a haven for just like authentic hip hop. Like, you know, it's not thuggy. Scarborough continues to get that kind of stereotypical representation in the media. You know, I can't tell you how many people I've told. I'll talk to a girl and say, oh, I'm from Scarborough, and they get this impression.
Yeah. Oh, trust me, I'm from Rexdale.
Right?
I understand.
It's the same. No, real talk. Like, you say Rexdale or you say Scarborough as if
they think it's a zoo.
It's like this bad thing.
It's like a war zone you're coming from.
And half of them, I'm like, have you been to Scarborough? Because, like, where I'm from, there's a school across the street, a park there, the mall's this way. I'm like, yo, listen, I'm just saying, you know, like, there's going to be spots everywhere that's not the greatest spots, but I'm just saying that it's and listen, I'm a Toronto guy. I'm not anti-Rex. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a Toronto man. Yeah. But to answer his question, yeah, there's a great pride in being from Scarborough because obviously it's home, but yes, it's also home to so many other MCs who've inspired me and continue to do their thing. And just rap.
Speaking of MCs that inspire you, who's on your playlist? Who do you like now today? I know we're talking about Bob Marley and Michael Jackson and all this, but who can you say that you like and you listen to and maybe not necessarily inspires you?
But even outside of your comfort zone.
If I have to choose hip hop, like, this is kind of strange. Like, I haven't been listening to a lot of hip hop. Like, what I'm rinsing the most, like, I'm not gonna front, you know. You guys may know this, and for everybody who doesn't know this, like, I'm still mourning my father, who passed 2 weeks ago. And I haven't even listened to music in 2 weeks. Prior to that, I was bumping Tuxedo.
Tuxedo's dope.
Okay? Soul music, current soul music.
One.
But shouts to Jake One and Mayor Hawthorne. Funk, soul. I love that shit. Hip hop, if I gotta go current, I really do love Kendrick Lamar. I'm a big fan of Kendrick Lamar. Whether you want to call him current or not, like, Eminem is still, a big deal. Like, I haven't even peeped his last few albums, but he's making noise with that new Trump thing. You know, yeah, I'm sure, you know, I'm sure it was going to come up because my thing is, like, no matter what, for me to enjoy the music, real talk, your music's got to have some kind of soul. There's got to be some funk. That's why I like Dilla, like that dirt, that grit, that soul, that funk. That's what I love. But you also got to be saying something in a way that intrigues me. As an MC, and I consider myself a top lyricist, I put so much into my lyricism that when I hear lyrics that make me go, oh, shit, I wish I thought of that. You know, I'm like, yeah. And so Kendrick does that to me sometimes. I'm like, dude, M does that shit. But, you know, if I'm going to be legit and honest, man,
Mom's going to the wine
just listening to hip hop, not a lot.
Yeah.
And it's not, and this is no hate to anybody. It's just like I've been in a certain space, and the funk soul thing. Like, listen, the last record I bought about a month ago was the Central Heating album by Heatwave. That shit dropped in like what, 77 or 8 or 9? Like that album is where Tribe sampled the Star of a Story for the Vibes.
Okay.
No, verses from the Abstract for the Low End
Low End
Theory
Theory,
album.
yeah.
Like we're talking about old music.
Yeah.
So I'm the worst guy to ask who you listening to.
No,
Because I listen to
honestly, I
old
would
music.
probably say something similar.
It's
And
the
it's
truth.
funny. I mean, we all like Kendrick is,
Yeah.
Kendrick's dope, but Kendrick is the default. Who do you
Yeah.
like now?
true.
He is the
Because-
default, yeah.
Who the fuck else is there? Cole.
Oh, J.
He's the
Cole,
biggest-
Kendrick.
he's
And I like J. Cole too.
Yeah.
Those are the guys who are in the best position to be the alt
They're the
artist.
they're the
Oh,
they're the
that's what I
J
was
and
gonna
Nas
say.
of like
The whole
now
thing.
kind of thing. But there's
Yeah.
nobody. There's not like there's a big gap. There
I wouldn't even
between
say
I think
Jay
it's
and
a big
Nas,
gap
it's just
too,
that.
yeah.
No, but I
it's
mean
the
in
two
the s-
representatives.
Yeah,
of
I
what
don't
it
mean
is
in the
right
sense
now.
of,
Yeah.
of what they represent or their styles or anything. Just that there was a time when it was Jay and Nas, and that was like
Yeah, what I love about Kendrick too is, like if you listen to the new album out now, Dear Hip Hop 20 years later, it's so punchline heavy. Because in the 90s,
It
like,
is.
Thank you. In the 90s, and I still, to some degree, it's still reflective in my current rhymes, but it's so punchline heavy, and because that was the thing. I mean, to me, I still give massive credit to the artists who are able to have great wordplay and stuff. But what Kendrick does that intrigues me, and I would say Eminem before him, but he's certainly still part of this category, is over and above clever lines, it's the way in which you can take the English language and mold it and shape it in a way that common speech can never do.
Yeah.
So you bring a certain cadence to the words you're using and the way it's delivered over beats, modern beats too. Like Kendrick will go in on
Yeah,
like
yep.
beats that like, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
that fit
yeah.
today's
Actually,
spectrum.
him-
And murder it.
when Kendrick Humble,
Yeah.
that was supposed to go to Gucci Man. Gucci Man passed on it. That's the type of beat that Kendrick took.
I
that
was
and
flipped
Humble-
it
hearing
this
like
way.
who was supposed to get certain beats.
I didn't
and
like
you're
when
the
I didn't like
cast
Humble when
And
I
I
first
bet
heard it.
you,
Yeah.
if, no disrespect to him, I don't follow his music, just being honest. If he had taken that track, I wouldn't even have heard it.
You wouldn't
Not
have.
But
at
I
all.
love Humble.
Not at all.
Humble is retarded.
Yeah.
You know
But
what I'm
it's
saying?
just the
Like
fact that-
Kendrick is dope.
He took that beat that it's supposed to be on the trap stuff and all that, and still
And
made
made
it.
it, yes, and did his own, because Kendrick also has his own slang, his own accent, his own delivery of words
Give me a
that
touch.
fit.
Give me a touch.
Give him a touch, man.
Give me a touch too.
That are unique to him.
Absolutely.
That he can take a beat like that maybe we would have passed on, and he
or
just
maybe we would have done just something.
would have
We
flipped
would have done
something
something
different.
so different.
Yeah.
He was still Kendrick.
Exactly.
It
Yeah,
wasn't like
yeah.
he took the beat and then he had to become somebody else. He was still
Well, I think that's the
stretch
key, man.
marks on the booty. Like
My advice to artists is always look, whatever your lane is, stay in it, be you. Even if you want to be so-called current with production or whatever, like, because so much shit comes out now and it's like, man, that sounds just like this, it sounds just like this. Like, find your lane, man. And like, when I did the Inevitable album, my last record dropped in 2013, and I did Boss Man with Chip Fu. I knew that I had to do a record with one of the best-known double-time lyricists in the world. So when I went double time on it, and it was funny because some people responded by going, I love that joint, but I'm not really into trap beats. And I'm like, that's a trap beat? I didn't even think of it that way because my approach to it was to
Exactly.
double time
Yeah.
and do shit with a legend
Yeah.
who's the greatest at it over a beat that called for it. So again, stay in your lane and do you. And I wasn't trying to be Chip Fu because you can't be Chip Fu.
No.
So I did my double
And
time.
that was even risky on.
It was very risky.
but
Yeah.
It's very risky. Like, you want to go double time with Chip Fu on a record? And I said,
You better do it right. Like,
right.
better
But let me do it
right.
my way.
Exactly.
Because if I try to be him,
You're not going to do it right.
Can't do
You're
it.
not.
Exactly.
that being said,
Yes.
how do you feel about performing it live? And have you performed it
Oh,
live?
yeah.
And
I love
what's
performing
what's
Boss Man.
What's the most difficult record of yours?
Immortal. Immortal is the EP that dropped right before Inevitable, and Immortal itself, and the videos on YouTube, is also a double time record.
Yeah.
But Immortal, so for everybody who may not know, if you go to danio.com, you'll see the cover of Immortal. The EP actually is a cover that has all of these other covers,
Okay.
all these album covers that I shout out in the song. So there's Michael, Prince, Nas, Public Enemy, all Sade, all these album covers appear because in the song I mention these album titles, with the concept being that I am as immortal as these artists. So I shout out my own album titles at the end, but I go double time. Every other couple of bars is double time. I performed it this past summer at the Beaches Jazz Festival with the Dirty B-side. Shout out, they'll be at my album release party November 2nd performing live with me.
Where's that?
It's going to be at the Revival in Toronto. Thank you, sir. On College Street, the Revival, November 2nd. We'll get back into that for sure, but my album release party will be happening there. And yeah, let's cheers to it. And
What's a podcast about drinking without drinking?
because, what are we waiting for? Let's do it. Where's Ma and the beer?
Actually,
gotta do that
hey, he's
double
on his way.
Oh, my bad. I'm gonna get it before the end of the show, man. I'm sorry.
It just
But
takes time.
but the point is Immortal was like. Again, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I'm tooting. It's very word heavy. It's very word heavy. I don't just shout out album titles, but I reference something that makes sense with respect to those artists. So it's a tribute record. So the words that I'm using is very complex, but it's double time.
Yeah.
So it's not just did it. It's like actual, there's a lot of words in there.
32 bars.
And I was like, yeah.
to
And
make
I'm
sense,
rehearsing this stuff going, I don't know if I'm going to perform this song. And the reason I wanted to perform it, and the Dirty B-Sides wanted to perform it, is because there's horns, and it sounds great live horns, drums, and all this stuff. So I'm like, it was hard, and I had to remember what I had written. And dude, I don't know about you guys, but when I was younger, I memorized everything I wrote almost immediately and could do, you ask me to drop a rhyme, I'll drop
do it
it.
right
Now, I'm like, oh, dude.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Well, how does it go? So that was hard. But no, Boss Man is, it's a favorite to perform.
It's a difficult. I could tell it's a difficult one to perform. Like,
Yeah, well, look, I don't have even a story about how I learned to double time. I just tried it and did it. And in that particular verse, which I'll probably get wrong if I try right now, but again, it's also wordy because I say something to the effect of
Shot Club Challenge.
Shock Club
Just about
Challenge.
to say, you want to try it right now?
Right now, or
How
you
many
should
shots
wait?
are we
You
in?
should, that's like
We're
only
like
four
shots in?
Four,
Okay.
so you should.
So 6 shots in.
give two more.
I have
We'll do
to,
two
I have
more
to know how it starts. I don't even know.
Okay, you got two. You got about 20 more minutes to figure it out.
We're going to ask him questions. He's going to be sitting there be like, in his head, be like, wait, what did
Actually,
you guys say?